Welcome back to the Bourbon Note, everybody. I'm Ben. It's better late than never. I've got a wheated bourbon banger on the bar tonight. Let's get into it. So on the bar tonight, I've got, bam, this is Larceny Barrel Proof A125. So as I said, better late than never, because here we are in November of 2025 and I'm just getting around to the January batch. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Actually, the A batch is the only batch I've seen in Minnesota all year. I have had a couple of opportunities to pick it up, but price-wise, I just didn't go for it. I've been kind of holding out a little bit, and that's something to maybe talk about before we get into the actual review here and tasting. I feel like Larceny Barrel Proof, there's been a change in the last 2 years. I was always a big fan of the Larceny Barrel Proofs, but I know they were just kind of seen as like the second fiddle to the Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs. And over the last couple of years, people have really not been liking the Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs quite as much. I feel like that's kind of gone downhill a little bit in a lot of people's opinions. But the Larceny Barrel Proofs have kind of been crushing it the last couple of years. So I think that there's some hype going on with these bottles, at least maybe in my area, and that explains it, because prior to this year, I was always able to get every batch of Larceny Barrel Proof as soon as they started distributing to Minnesota. And so this year is the first year I haven't. Along with that, the couple of times I have seen the A batch, they're starting to price these like Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs. They're starting to creep up north of $70. I used to buy these for 58 bucks standard. And so, you know, that's kind of starting to shy me away a little bit. Just, I don't know. I feel personally attacked when I see people, overpricing bourbon. I mean, don't you, kind of, a little bit? So anyway, I saw this one on sale today. I picked this up for $49.99. So I saw that price and I was like, absolutely. So I figured I'd do it, like I said, better late than never, but I guess this is the only batch of Larceny Barrel Proof I'm doing this year for the first time in a few years. So 125 proof on this bad boy, which is kind of standard. They usually run in the mid 120s for Larceny Barrel Proof. On the nose, that 125 proof is showing up. There is an ethanol bite to this. Whew. But along with that, good Lord, that is on the nose, that's one of the hotter 125 proofs. Maybe that's just me today. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but that's burning my nostrils a little bit. But the flavors that are coming along with it, I'm digging. What I always like about Larceny Barrel Proof in particular, I'm a wheated bourbon fan in general, and I've always liked the general profile of the Larceny Barrel Proof. I actually like the regular 92 proof, $25 Larceny. I know a lot of people maybe don't like that one. I actually like it. But what I like about these is they have that quintessential kind of bready wheat, like actual grain note, but they're kind of surrounded by this nice, almost like toasted wheat, and almost just like wheat toast actually. But then they got this nice sweetness that surrounds them. There's chocolate, there's caramel, there's brown sugar. This has got some fried pastry on the nose that I'm really liking. Like a glazed fried pastry, like a fried donut. Yeah, a little bit of vanilla. A lot of nice sweetness coming out of the glass. And then it's got definitely some barrel influence. I believe these are 6 to 8 years. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the palate on this one. Let's get into it. So I don't know if it's just me today, but that 125 proof is showing up on the palate as well. This has got some punch to it, but the flavors are great. Everything on the nose transfers to the palate. That nice fried pastry note is there, along with that kind of brown sugar caramel. Very standard bourbon notes. And it's just got a really nice barrel spice and like black pepper spice on the finish. There's this building wave of heat on the back end of this that I think really kind of rounds out the whole experience. This is really good. I'm digging it. I don't typically get a lot of fruit notes on Larceny products, but I know some people do. I mean, I've seen reviews of various, Larceny barrel proofs. And for whatever reason, that's not really something I ever pick up on these for the most part. And, you know, I'm feeling like there's maybe a little red fruit trying to come through on this one. And maybe I just don't have quite as much of a nose or a palate for those fruit notes as maybe some other people do. But I feel like there's something there a little bit. But I feel like on past versions of this, people have kind of brought up like a cherry note. And I could see that a little bit on this one. But again, I just wonder if maybe I'm not quite as sensitive to that. A nice vanilla note on this as well. Let's get into the second sip and dissect this one a little bit more. Yeah, that's just a really good whiskey. I'm finding this one to be, again, I'm still having the 125 proof right up in front. It's got that bite to it. It's got the ethanol bite. It's not overwhelming, but it is a little aggressive. I think maybe more so than some past releases. But the flavors I'm getting on this are kind of, you know, in concert with flavors I've gotten on past releases. I think they're finely EQ'd to where everything kind of has its nice place. It's got the barrel char and the black pepper. Those are kind of more, like I said, on the finish, but like up front, you get that ethanol bite. It's kind of got that, you know, toasted wheat bread sort of note to it. And then it's just got like all these, you know, sweet notes, kind of like you're baking cookies and you've got the cookie dough, you know, it's got your chocolates and your vanilla, like the vanilla extract. And like I said, that fried pastry note is really nice. That glaze, kind of sugar glaze that you would get on a fried donut or like a fried whatever, like the little, I don't know, it's like a bear claw or whatever. I don't know what you know what I'm talking about. And then all of that kind of wraps up and then just finishes with that nice spice that kind of just tops the whole thing off. And I'm digging it. So this has a nice, you know, kind of balance of a sweet and spice. It's got the barrel char. And it has kind of a standard bourbon profile underneath it as well. And this is just really well balanced as far as I'm concerned. So let's get into the final sip here before we get out of here. Cheers. A little bit of nuttiness on this too. A little bit of that kind of quintessential Heaven Hill nuttiness. And so that adds to the kind of the sweetness too. Like it complements like the kind of caramel, standard caramel note. That little bit of nuttiness in the chocolate. Somebody said to me one time, one of the batches kind of was like it had a Snickers bar profile to it. And so sometimes I tend to associate Larceny barrel proofs with that. And this one is not disappointing in that regard because it's got, I'm not saying it tastes like a Snickers bar, but it's got some of the ingredients. It's got the chocolate, it's got the caramel, it's got the peanut. So yeah, I'm loving this. As far as, you know, Larceny barrel proof, some of the stuff that I touched on at the beginning of the video, the price and availability, I don't know what's happening in your market, but that's just been the experience here in Minnesota for this whole year. Larceny barrel proof started showing up in Minnesota as far as like distribution, or at least when I started seeing them regularly, probably in like 2022, I think. And so I've been able to get the all the three batches from the last 3 years. And so I just don't know that, you know, maybe it's going to be available anymore just because I don't know if it's the hype or if it's, you know, the according to some people, decline of Elijah Craig barrel proof. I don't know that I'm fully on board to say that an Elijah Craig barrel proof is in a full-on decline, but, you know, it's a batch product. Some are going to be better than others. For the last few years, I feel like these have been consistently good. And I think the Elijah Craigs have too, and this isn't an Elijah Craig, you know, review or whatever, but these two are kind of like, you know, there's the Elijah Craig barrel proofs and there's the Larceny barrel proofs. They all have the A, B, and C and, you know, the same release and stuff like that. And so the reason I'm just talking about that is because I feel like this one has kind of taken that spot where of the harder to find and now unfortunately higher priced as well. So let me know what's happening in your market. Are you seeing these things on the shelf? And has the price stayed the same? Because that is one thing, you know, when it's, you know, it's only maybe a $15 price increase for the most part, but, you know, I don't know. When you see a bourbon that you're used to getting at a certain price and then it goes up just because, you know, people start talking about it on the internet like a moron, you know, hopefully I didn't have anything to do with that. I don't think my channel is big enough to influence the market or pricing. So I feel like I'm off the hook for that. But, you know, I think just the general talk about these has been very, very positive in the last couple of years. And so I think that maybe that's contributing to a little bit of that scarcity and that price increase. So let me know what's going on in your market. This has been Larceny Barrel Proof A125 on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you on the next one.